Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's raining, you won't find him complaining. For Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, no problem, no problem. It's just no problem.
Can he carry a heavy load? No problem. Can he drive safely down the road? No problem. Can he go long distance? Can he drive all night? Will he make sure the delivery gets there all right? No problem.
No problem, no problem, no problem. It's just no problem.
Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's raining, you won't find him complaining. For Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, no problem.
It's just no problem.
It's just no problem.
No, I can do it.
Problem.
I really can.
No problem.
Absolutely
It's just no problem.
It was a cold and snowy morning in the depot as Steady Eddie pulled out of his garage and had a look around. "Hey, what's been going on?" he asked. "Last night when I went to sleep the hills were green, the depot kind of normal looking, and now everything is white." "It's been snowing," said Loretta. "Isn't it beautiful?" "Well, yes," said Eddie, slightly concerned, "but I've got a delivery to make this morning, and if the roads are covered in snow, then it could be difficult." "Oh, yes, you'll have to be very careful. It might be very slippery out there," warned Loretta. All of a sudden, there was a rattling and a clattering heading from the warehouse. "Mind your backs!" hooted Freddie Forklift as he shot out of the warehouse and squeezed his way between the trucks. "Careful!" warned Eddie and Loretta at the same time. But they were too late. Freddie Forklift was driving too fast, and when he tried to stop, he skidded right across the depot into a large pile of cardboard boxes. "Oh no!" said Loretta. "Are you all right?" "All right, all right," laughed Freddie Forklift. "That was fun!" And he whizzed back across the depot. "Whee!" he went, skidding and sliding past Steady Eddie. "Whee!" he went, doing a little pirouette in front of Loretta. "Oh, I love the snow!" And with that, he headed back into the warehouse to get Steady Eddie's delivery. "He's mad," said Steady Eddie to Loretta. "No, he's not," said Loretta. "He's just having fun." Freddie shot into the warehouse, and it wasn't long before he had found what he was looking for. "3 bales of hay and some cattle feed," he said to himself, "for the farm over the other side of the town." And with that, he picked up the hay and headed a little more carefully this time out of the warehouse. "Coming through!" he shouted, and loaded the bales of hay onto the back of Steady Eddie. "Just the cattle feed left and then you can go." And with that, he raced off, skidding and sliding back into the warehouse, shouting "Whee! Whee!" as he went. "Oh, you were right, Eddie," laughed Loretta. "He is mad." "Toot, toot!" went Freddie as he came out of the warehouse with the cattle feed and loaded it onto the back of Eddie. "Now you be careful out there, Steady Eddie, because with all this snow and ice, the roads might be very slippery." "Thank you for the warning," said Eddie as he pulled out of the depot and headed off on his delivery.
No problem, it's just no problem. No problem, it's just no problem.
Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. It doesn't matter if it's snowing, he knows where he is going. For Steady Eddie, it is no problem.
No problem, it's just no problem.
No problem at all.
No problem, it's just no problem.
Can he carry a heavy load? No problem. Can he drive safely down the road? No problem. Can he go long distance? Can he drive through snow? Will he make sure the delivery gets there? You know, it's no problem.
It's just no problem.
No problem at all.
It's just no problem.
Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's snowing, he knows where he is going. For Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, it's just no problem.
No problem.
No problem, it's just no problem.
Always ready to help.
It's just no
Won't be a problem.
No problem.
By the time Steady Eddie arrived at Mr. Kelly's farm, it was snowing quite hard. "Oh, thank heavens you're here," said Farmer Kelly. "I was a little worried that you might have got stuck in a snowdrift." "Oh, no, no. Snow is no problem for me," said Eddie. "My big wheels grip the road really well." "Well, that's good," said the farmer. "With all the snow that's on the ground, my cows can't eat the grass, and they haven't had anything at all day. They're hungry." "Then we'd better get unloaded," said Eddie, opening his curtain. While Farmer Kelly unloaded the hay and cattle feed, Sarah and Michael, his two children, were tobogganing down a snow-covered hill. Steady Eddie watched on enviously. It looked like they were having a lot of fun whizzing down the slope and into the woods at the bottom of the hill. All of a sudden, Eddie heard some shouting and saw Sarah running towards him. "Oh, hello! Steady Eddie! Is Dad around?" she asked in a panic. "He's just feeding the cows," said Eddie. "Why, what's the matter?" "Michael has hurt himself. When he came down the hill, he couldn't stop and he bumped into a tree. Oh, I think he's hurt his arm." "Oh, no." "Don't worry, Sarah," said Eddie. "I'm sure he'll be all right, but I'll call your dad for you." And Steady Eddie gave 3 loud hoots on his hooter. "What's the matter?" asked Farmer Kelly as he rushed back to Eddie. "Michael has hurt himself," said Sarah, pulling her dad towards the trees. "He crashed into a tree with his toboggan." "Eddie," said Farmer Kelly, "can you tell my wife to call an ambulance while I go and see what has happened?" "No problem," called out Eddie after him. Eddie did what Farmer Kelly had asked, and it wasn't long before Michael was sitting in the back of the ambulance ready to go to hospital. But as the ambulance went to drive off down the road, it got stuck. The snow was too deep, and its wheels kept spinning around. It was going nowhere. "Oh no," said Farmer Kelly. "What are we going to do now? Michael needs to get to hospital so the doctors can make his arm better." "Don't worry," said Eddie. "I have an idea." And he quickly told Farmer Kelly his plan. It wasn't long before Farmer Kelly had attached 2 barn doors to the front of Steady Eddie as he had suggested. "Okay, follow me," said Steady Eddie to the ambulance. "I'll clear the road for you, and we should be at the hospital in no time." And he drove off down the road. Steady Eddie's plan was working. The barn doors worked like a snowplow, pushing the heavy snow to the side of the road, making it easier for the ambulance to follow. It was hard work, but Steady Eddie was not going to give up, and he kept driving towards the hospital. "Thank you," said the ambulance. "I don't think I would have made it here without your help." "Oh, that's no problem," said Steady Eddie. "I think I'll wait here for a while. Will you let me know how Michael gets on?" "I'm sure he'll be fine. Toodaloo," said the ambulance as she drove across the empty car park to the hospital entrance. So Steady Eddie sat in the snow to wait for any news on Michael. As he sat there trying to catch snowflakes on his tongue, he heard some laughing and giggling from one of the upstairs windows. Some of the patients in the children's ward had been watching him. "Hello!" shouted Eddie to the children, and they all waved back. It can't be much fun being in hospital, thought Steady Eddie, and not being able to play in the snow. So he decided to try to do something to cheer the children up. He started his engine, tooted his hooter, and slowly started driving around the empty car park. Sometimes going forwards, and sometimes going backwards. The children watched on, trying to work out what he was doing. As Steady Eddie drove round, he started squashing down some of the snow. "He's drawing a picture!" shouted one of the children as Eddie drove round and round. "I wonder what it's going to be!" shouted another as Eddie reversed and drove forwards again. I know what it is!" shouted Michael from the window with his arm in plaster. "It's a clown!" Steady Eddie had drawn the face of a clown in the snow, and all the children clapped and cheered him. Are you feeling better? Called Eddie up to Michael.
Yes, I'm all right.
Called back Michael.
I broke my arm, but the doctor said it won't take long to get better. So thank you for helping me to come to hospital.
No problem, said Steady Eddie. I'm glad you are all right, but now I think it's time I headed home. It's getting a little cold out here. Thanks for your help, said Farmer Kelly, who was standing next to the ambulance at the hospital's entrance.
Yes, thanks,
said the ambulance.
I don't know what I would have done had you not been there. Super.
No problem, said Steady Eddie, as he drove off back to the depot with Farmer Kelly, Michael and the other children waving goodbye. Jock, Loretta, Oliver and Eddie, 4 big trucks that are ever ready to make that delivery to carry your load. See if you can spot them driving down the road.
They're driving, just
Driving down the road.
They're driving, just driving.
Loretta, Lorry, there she goes, driving down the road. I'm always pretty, I'm always smiling, I'm always careful with how I'm driving. I'm Loretta. Loretta Lorry,
They're driving,
that's my name.
just driving. They're driving, just driving.
Jock the tanker, there he goes, off on a long, long drive. I'm always cheerful, I'm never tired. Oh, let's hope I've enough fuel for the ride. I'm Jock. Aye, Jock the tanker,
They're
baby.
driving, just driving. They're driving, just driving.
Jock, Loretta, Oliver and Eddie, 4 big trucks that are ever ready to make that delivery to carry your load. See if you can spot them driving down the road.
They're driving, just
Driving down the
They're
road.
driving,
Oliver overdrive, there he goes, roaring down the road. I'm never helpful and I'm never smiling. I'm not really bothered how I'm driving. I'm Oliver. Yeah, Oliver overdrive. Yeah, I'm a lot better than all of you four. I can drive faster than any of you. Ha! Jock, Loretta, Oliver and Eddie, 4 big trucks that are ever ready to make that delivery to carry your load. See if you can spot them driving down the road.
They're driving, just driving.
Down the
They're
road.
driving, just driving.
Steady Eddie, there he goes, safely down the road. I'm always helpful and I'm always smiling. I'm always careful with how I'm driving, 'cause I'm Eddie. I'm Steady Eddie.
They're
Driving
driving,
down the road.
Just
And it's
driving.
no problem.
They're driving.
No problem
just
whatsoever.
driving.
Jock, Loretta, Oliver and Eddie, 4 big trucks that are ever ready to make that delivery to carry your load. See if you can spot them driving down the road.
No problem, it's just no
Driving
problem.
down the road.
No problem,
Look, there they
just
go.
no
I can see
problem.
loads of them.
No problem, it's
You
just
see them
no
in the distance?
problem.
They look
No
fantastic.
problem.
Bye. Are you ready for a journey in an Eddie Stobart truck? Dean is going to take us for a drive in his cab as he heads back to the depot. Okay. Check your mirrors. Indicate right. Wait for a space. And off we go. Dean makes driving such a big truck look easy.
So, back on the dual carriageway. Another lorry's overtaking me. I think I haven't got my speed up yet. I forget it takes that little bit longer. There we go. Just flash him in, make sure he can come in. It helps the other driver with the length of his vehicle to say, okay, you can come in now into the front, instead of stopping out into the second lane. And then he will flash me, indicate, just to say thank you very much. Downhill section. Keep looking in my mirrors. Make sure there's no cars overtaking. This truck is 45 foot long. Not like Mum and Dad's car, about what, 6 to 12 feet or something like that. It's a bit wider as well, a bit higher. So it needs to be when you got 26 pallets of goods on. It's not as fast as Mum's and Dad's car. Coming up a uphill section. Changing gear. Keep the momentum going. Car's overtaking me. Coming up to a narrow piece now where the dual carriageway ends. So I shall have to keep my speed down a little bit. Coming to a roundabout now. Turning right. Slowing down. Using the gears and the brake to slow me down. Looking at the traffic. Waiting for that big enough gap. There's a good big gap. I shall go now. Looking on the left, where the car's coming from the left. Keep looking in the right. Indicate left. Back on the single track road. 40 mile an hour. Slowing down because the car's turning right in front of me. Hopefully it'll be gone, I won't have to stop too much. Keep my speed up. Yeah, this truck when it's fully loaded it'll do about 9 miles to the gallon. Slow down a little bit, it's a bad junction here where they pull out the cars. Downhill. Up to an uphill section again. Change gear to keep the speed up. A bit bumpy. To the single track again, coming up to a roundabout. Looking in my mirrors, sure no cars overtaking, starting to slow down, need that greater distance to stop the vehicle, indicating right, so I'm going round the roundabout, coming back, braking, change gears. There's traffic on the roundabout. Wait for a big enough gap. Still waiting for a gap, and here we go. The gap's big enough. And round the roundabout. Okay, left, back into Eddie Stobart's yard. Where I work out of. It's where my planner tells me where to go, what to pick up. I phone him and he tells me where to go. where we drop our trailers, the workshop, diesel pumps. To fill up the diesel. Nice and steady here. Forklift truck's working here. Park over in front of the traffic office. Come to a stop. Handbrake on. Turn the engine off.
Nice driving, Dean.
No problem, no problem, no problem, it's just no problem.
Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's raining, you won't find him complaining. For Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, no problem, no problem, it's just no problem.
Can he carry a heavy load? No problem. Can he drive safely down the road? No problem. Can he go long distance? Can he drive all night? Will he make sure the delivery gets there all right? No problem.
No problem, no problem, no problem, it's just no problem.
Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's raining, you won't find him complaining. For Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, no problem,
It's just no problem.
it's just no problem.
No, I can do
No
it.
problem.
I really can.
No problem,
Absolutely
it's
no.
just no problem.
It was very early in the morning at the Northern Depot, and Steady Eddie was fast asleep. But Loretta Lorry was awake. She had an early delivery and was getting ready to go. She turned on her lights and started her engine as quietly as possible. Eddie opened his eyes and gave a big yawn. Oh, sorry, Steady Eddie, I didn't mean to wake you, said Loretta. No problem, said Steady Eddie. Anyway, why are you up at this time of the morning? Well, I've got a delivery to make today in Paris and wanted to get an early start, said Loretta. Paris? Said Steady Eddie. Paris? Isn't that in France? Oh, yes, replied Loretta. I've got to get the ferry across the sea. Oh, how exciting, said Steady Eddie. I wish I was coming with you. Oh, so do I, said Loretta. I'm a little nervous about the ferry. I don't really like them. Oh, don't worry. Ferries are no problem. You just drive on, sit and wait a while whilst it crosses the sea, and then you drive off at the other end. It's really easy. Oh, I know, it's just... Oh, don't worry, I'll be fine, said Loretta. So what are you doing today? Me? Huh, it's my day off, so I'm going back to sleep. And then maybe later I'll go through the lorry wash and then rest a bit more, and, well, after that I don't really know. Well, enjoy yourself, said Loretta as she started to drive off. I will, said Eddie. And have a safe trip. And as Loretta drove out the depot, he slowly went back to sleep. Later that morning, Steady Eddie was parked outside his garage, wondering what to do. All of a sudden, he heard a rattling and a clattering heading his way. Mind your backs, called Freddie Forklift as he rushed out the warehouse carrying a large roll of red carpet. Oh no! Where's Loretta? He said, stopping suddenly. Well, she left earlier. She didn't want to be late for the ferry, replied Steady Eddie. Oh no, this will never do, said Freddie Forklift in a panic. I've just had a call from Monsieur Bourdillon, the Mayor of Paris. The Queen is visiting the Eiffel Tower tonight, and they don't have any red carpet for her. I was going to get Loretta to take some. But she's already gone, said Eddie.
Oh, what shall we do now? I promised the mayor he'd have the carpet by tea time. We can't keep the mayor of Paris or the Queen waiting.
Then I can take it. I'm not doing anything today, offered Steady Eddie.
Could you? Said Freddy. Really? That would be brilliant.
Of course I can. And Steady Eddie opened his curtain as Freddy loaded a big roll of carpet into him.
Oh, and while you're in France,
Asked Freddy.
Can you bring me back some French onions and maybe a string of garlic? Oh, I like all that smelly stuff.
No problem, said Eddie as he shut his curtain and turned on his engine. I'd better get going. If I'm quick, I might even catch Loretta up at the ferry. So off went Steady Eddie out of the depot and off down the road.
No problem, no problem, no problem, it's just no problem.
Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's raining, you won't find him complaining. For Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, no problem, no problem, it's just no problem.
Will he get there on time? No problem. Will his paintwork and headlights shine? No problem. Will he be your best friend? Will he be polite? Will he make sure the delivery gets there all right? No problem.
No problem, no problem, no problem, it's just no problem.
Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's raining, you won't find him complaining. For Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, no problem,
Absolutely no
no
problem.
problem, it's just no problem.
Oh, driving down the roads, no
No
problem.
problem, no problem,
Just
it's
driving
just no
is
problem.
no problem.
No
problem
problem.
at all. Oh,
No
I could
problem.
drive all night.
No
I could drive
problem.
all day.
It's just no problem. No problem. No problem. No problem. It's just no problem.
Steady Eddie was not far from the ferry port, and he could see quite a few lorries parked up ahead. I wonder if Loretta is still waiting, he thought as he drove up. Yes, there she is, he said, spotting Loretta not too far in front. So very quietly, Eddie drove towards Loretta, pulling up alongside her. Boo! he went. Oh, what? Oh, Eddie. Oh, what are you doing here? She asked. I'm waiting for the ferry. What are you doing here?
Oh, you know I have a delivery in France, said Loretta.
Oh, I thought you were having a day off. I was, but then the mayor of Paris, Monsieur Bourdillon, called for an urgent delivery, so I'm going to Paris too. Oh, I'm so pleased. You can keep me company on the ferry. It will be my pleasure, said Steady Eddie. Up ahead, the ferry was ready, and soon lorries were driving on board. Here we go, said Eddie to Loretta as they followed the other lorries onto the ferry. Oh, let's go up on the deck, suggested Loretta. I feel better if I can see where we're going. Okay, said Steady Eddie. That will be fun. So off they went onto the top deck to find a nice view. Once all the lorries were loaded, the ferry gave a loud hoot and started pulling out of the harbour. Top of the world! Shouted Eddie as he looked out to sea. Stop being silly, Eddie, said Loretta. But you are right. It's not so bad on the ferry after all. Finally, the ferry reached France, and it wasn't long before Steady Eddie and Loretta Lorry were happily driving down French country roads on their way to Paris. France looks a lot like England, said Eddie as he led the way. Yes, I suppose you're right, replied Loretta, though there's a lot less traffic. All of a sudden, a little Frenchman on a bicycle came round the corner heading straight for Eddie. Whoa! Shouted Eddie as he stopped. Whoa, 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 whoa! Went the Frenchman as he wobbled across the road and ended up in a hedge. Oh no, are you all right? Asked Eddie, concerned. I think so. Yes, I'm okay, he said, getting up and brushing himself off. But what were you doing driving on my side of the road? Your side of the road? Said Eddie, confused. I was driving on the left. I always drive on the left. Oh, we. In England you drive on the left. But this is France. In France we drive on the right side of the road. Eddie went bright red. I am so sorry. I forgot. Your roads look so much like ours. It is okay. No harm done. Now, Monsieur Steady Eddie, go carefully on your way. And remember, in France, we drive on the right. On the right. Right. No problem, said Steady Eddie, and was just about to drive off when he remembered what Freddy had asked him. Excuse me, sir, he asked. Are your onions and garlic for sale? Well, yes, they are. I was cycling to market to try to sell them. Why? Well, I'll buy them off you. My friend back in England wanted me to get him some. Then you shall have them, and it will save me a long journey. And the Frenchman hung the onions and the garlic on Steady Eddie's bumper. Oh, it was a good thing we bumped into each other. No? He said, laughing. No! I mean, yes. Oh, I don't know. Oh, thank you. And off went Steady Eddie and Loretta, driving down the road to Paris. Finally, after many, many miles, Steady Eddie and Loretta Lorry arrived at the outskirts of Paris. Phew! We're nearly there, said Loretta. Now I will go and make my delivery, and you must go and meet the mayor. And I'll see you by the Eiffel Tower, and we can drive home together. No problem, said Steady Eddie. Careful how you go. I'll see you later. And off they went down different roads to make their deliveries. When Steady Eddie arrived at the Eiffel Tower, Monsieur Bourdillon, the mayor of Paris, was waiting. Ah, Steady Eddie, I am so happy you could come. The Queen will be here soon. Do you have the red carpet? I do, and it's all ready for you. Oh, wonderful, replied the mayor. I shall get my men to unload it for you, and then, if you want, you can park over there and you can watch the Queen arrive. Oh, thank you, said Steady Eddie. I like the Queen. I've met her before, you know. No, replied the mayor of Paris in surprise. Monsieur Eddie is very lucky. It wasn't long before the red carpet was unloaded and rolled into place. Oh, c'est magnifique, said the mayor. I have never been so proud. Eddie, you are a very good truck. Oh, thank you, said Eddie. But now we must be ready because here comes the Queen. Eddie looked up, and driving down the road in a black limousine was the Queen of England. Her car stopped right by the red carpet, and she stepped out and waved at the crowd. The Queen said hello to the mayor, and then noticed Steady Eddie. Ah, Steady Eddie, how nice to see you again, she said, waving.
What are you doing in Paris?
I'm doing a delivery, Your Majesty, said Eddie, blushing.
Lovely.
Said the Queen.
Keep up the good work.
And with that, she walked up the red carpet to the Eiffel Tower with the mayor. Just then, Loretta Lorry arrived. Oh, time to go home, she said. Are you ready? I'm ready, said Steady Eddie. And off they drove, leaving the Eiffel Tower behind them. You know, I've just seen the Queen.
Eddie, the Queen lives in England, not Paris.
No, really, said Eddie. She was right here with the mayor. Oh, sometimes, Eddie, I worry about you. I think you work too hard, you know. What you need tomorrow is a proper day off, okay? Okay, said Steady Eddie, deciding it was best not to argue with Loretta. But he knew he had made the delivery and seen the Queen, and that was all that mattered. Steady Eddie is always ready to make that delivery on time. Doesn't matter if it's raining, you won't find him complaining, for Steady Eddie it is no problem.
No problem, no problem.
It's just no problem.
It's just no problem.
No, I can do it.
problem.
I really can.
No problem,
Absolutely
It's just no problem.
whatsoever.
no problem.
And he'll always do it with no problems.
It's just no problem.
Sorry about that.